Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another video. It's been nearly a week since the NFL has released the 2023 schedule, and today we'll be going over the AFC South record prediction. So we're going to get started with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Let's get right into it. Jacksonville Jaguars, man, had a phenomenal season last year. It's going to be the second year under Doug Peterson. This will be a great season for them, I feel like. They have a bye week. The Jaguars' bye week is in week 9, so that's right after the Steelers game, and they'll have 1 week to get ready for the Steelers. So this will be a good game right there. And yeah, I think this is the easiest schedule that the Jaguars have had from the past couple of years. Like last year, they played against very good teams last year, and they were able to go. I don't know what the record was last year, but they were able to make playoffs. They were able to take the division, to be honest. They were able to take the division last year. They made playoffs. They were able to win a playoff game. Nearly beat the Chiefs in the playoffs as well. They should have beat the Chiefs, in my opinion, but came a little short. And we're here now. Year 2 underneath Doug Pearson. I got them going 12-5 this year. The big question for the media recently has been, are the Jaguars going to go 10-plus wins this year? And I would say yes, the Jaguars are definitely going 10-plus wins this season just because of how easy their schedule is. Like, if you look at the schedule, they legitimately play against how many competitive teams? The Chiefs, the Bengals, the Steelers are competitive, Niners. I said the Bengals, the Ravens as well. So the Cleveland Browns are pretty competitive as well. And yeah, I have them losing to the Chiefs, have them losing to the Bengals. I have them losing to the Chiefs, I have them losing to the Bills, Steelers. The Niners game is gonna be a little question mark because who's gonna be starting at quarterback that week? Is it gonna be Brock Purdy? It might be Brock Purdy. The news for him has been a little bit mismessaged because obviously before free agency they were saying he might not even play into playoffs. And that's why they got Sam Darnold to get the closest quarterback to the same style as Brock Purdy. And now, like a week before the draft or like week after it, they're saying Brock Purdy should be playing week 1, week 2. So you don't know with Brock Purdy, so that's gonna be the real question: who's gonna be starting that week against the Jaguars? And then I have them losing to the Bengals in Jacksonville. That's gonna be a very tough game for the Bengals. I feel like it's gonna be a very, very fun game to watch, though. I think it's a Monday night or something like that. Monday night game. This will be very fun. The Jaguars almost beat them 2 years ago in Cincinnati. I believe they had a 21-point lead against the Bengals, and they ended up losing that in the fourth quarter. So it was very sad to watch for the Jaguars. And then I have them going on a little win streak to close out the season. And my 4 key games this season for the Jaguars is that Bills game, because if they could beat the Bills, they show the whole world. They show the whole world that they are a legit playoff contending team, and it should be pretty good. It should be a pretty fun game. It's in Buffalo, so it's gonna be a tough place to play. It's be in October as well, but there could be worse. You don't want to play against the Bills in the playoffs at Buffalo. It's a tough place to play. And then that Steelers game to me should be very competitive. TJ Watt, if he's healthy, he could get after Trevor Lawrence, I think, very easily against that O-line. And yeah, it's going to be a very good game. TJ Watt, Trevor Lawrence, Fitzpatrick on the other side as well. Calvin Ridley against Porter Jr., Peterson, whoever is going to be on that side of the defense. In my opinion, that's going to be a very competitive game. And then that Bengals-Jaguars game, again, a rematch from that Monday night or Thursday night game 2 years ago when Urban Meyer was the head coach, and he, did some stuff in Cincinnati as well after that loss. And yeah, this year it should be a very competitive game because the Jaguars in my opinion, are way better than they were 2 years ago. And the Bengals as well, they got better in the draft. They just keep getting better. They really are. So it's gonna be a very, very good game. Early December should be a fun one to watch right there. And then the Ravens. Last year, the Ravens barely lost to the Jaguars by 3 points. And this one's a Sunday night game? Wow. It's Sunday night game in December. It actually should be an important one because, well, actually not really. It's going to be an important one for the Ravens if they do want to make playoffs because they are in a tough division, and the AFC South in itself is very tough to play in this year. And for the Jaguars, it's just going to be you want to win. You know, their division is not too competitive, so if they win the division, they're going to make playoffs. But for the Ravens, they have to win this game late December. It's going to be a playoff game. So I love the schedule makers for making this one a Sunday night game. Or it might not be a Sunday night. I think it is, but it is still a primetime game for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And again, like I said last year, the Ravens barely lost by 3 points. Deshaun Jackson was a big spark plug for that offense in the second half. And the Jaguars were able to come out with the win with their defense. Lamar Jackson played that game, right? Yeah, I want to say that was his last game. I believe he played that season. And this will be a fun one. Lamar Jackson, regular season, Lamar Jackson is a fun person to watch. They got him weapons in the offseason. They got him Zay Flowers, OBJ. Jaguars got Kevin Ridley, Kirk, Zay Jones. So it's going to be a very fun one to watch. Let's see how many points go on the board. Or maybe it's the defensive game because the Ravens do have a phenomenal defense still. You can't sleep on them on defense because the Ravens every year are going to have a phenomenal defense. The Jaguars have a solid one. But I think the Ravens do have a way better defense. The Colts have a new coaching staff, a new quarterback, and basically a restart for the franchise, even though they have very talented players, veteran players as well on their roster. So this could be it should be a solid season for the Colts. Their bye week is week 11, so that is after the Patriots game is week 11, and then they'll come back and play the Bucks in week 12. And then I have the Colts going 9-8, and I think this is a very solid record for them. I really do believe they are going to be around that range. I have them losing to the Jaguars, have them losing to the Ravens, and again to the Jaguars in Jacksonville. I believe our first game against the Jaguars is going to be very tough to win because a whole new coaching staff, whole new quarterback, so you got to get him dialed in. It's going to be his second year starting as a quarterback, a full season quarterback. In Anthony Richardson. It should be him. It might be Minshew, but it really should be Anthony Richardson, in my opinion. Because these early games are not that difficult. So I would start Anthony Richardson right off the gate. But the second Jacksonville game, they haven't beat Jacksonville in Duval County in 10 years. So, yeah. And then I haven't lost to the Browns, Saints, the Patriots. Again, the Patriots are phenomenal against rookie quarterbacks because of, Bill Belichick. He's that guy against rookie quarterbacks. I think the only quarterback to beat him as a rookie is what's his name? Zach Wilson and some other random guy. And then I haven't lost to the Steelers, and on here I haven't lost to the Falcons, but I believe late in the season they will beat the Falcons, so they should be 10. They should be 10-7. So the record will be 10-7 because I really believe that they will beat the Falcons later in the season, and I think the Colts will be better later in the season. I don't think they'll be a wow with a difference, but I think you will see improvements, later in the season for the Colts. And my 4 key games for the Colts is can they beat Duval? Can they beat Jacksonville in Duval County? They haven't beat them in 10 years. Can they do it this year? And then that Saints game, in my opinion, This would be a very good Bengals game. And then the Steelers. I think they could beat the Steelers. Was that inside run was Jonathan Taylor, and then that option was Anthony Richardson and Taylor. And then the Texans. The Texans are a rebuilding team. They have a couple of, not a couple, they have, how do I say, they have young talent, young studs out there on their roster. And their bye week is week 7. And I have them going 6-11. The Falcons, Panthers, Bucks, Cardinals, and the Titans later in the season. I have them sweeping the Titans. My 4 key games this year for the Texans is that Falcons game. Both teams have young talent on their team. The Falcons have Kyle Pitts, Robertson, and Drake London. The Texans have Petrie, Stingley, Pierce, C.J. Stroud, Will Anderson. They have young talent on their team. And then the Cardinals game should be a winnable game for the Texans. And then obviously the Panthers versus Texans is going to be a phenomenal game. First overall versus second overall. And then I put the Jets game later in the season. I think the Texans could upset the Jets in this game right here. And it's going to be a very important game for the Jets to win because the AFC is going to be a very, very tough, a very, very tight race to make playoffs. And if the Jets lose to the Texans, man, it'll be a very big blow to that Jets season. And I think the Texans could upset some big teams, and I think the Jets are one of them. And then for the Titans, man, the Titans, dude, it's not going to be a good season for them. It's not. It really isn't. I didn't want them doing this dirty, man, because it's very tough. It's very tough to, give a team this, but I really believe it's probably going to be like this for the Titans. Oh, man. If you look at the first 6 games that the Titans have, man, those are all very tough games. I don't think they're going to win any of those games right there. Maybe the Colts game, because like I said, the Colts are going to be under a new coaching staff, a new quarterback at the helm. So it's going to be a very tough game for the Colts. But I think the Colts, all in all, have a better roster than the Titans. And then the Falcons, very winnable game as well. The Steelers, I think they lose. I have them winning against the Bucks. Losing to Jacksonville. I think the Panthers beat them. The Colts lose. Dolphins lose. The last couple games are pretty winnable, but the Dolphins and Seahawks games, I don't think they're gonna win against those teams right there. Hopefully by the trade deadline, Derrick Henry is off the roster, is traded to another team for some picks, because the Titans are gonna need it. They really are gonna need it. The roster does need help all around, and yeah, it's just So these are my 4 key games for the Titans, but these are 4 winnable games for the Titans as well. They could possibly beat the Falcons, the Bucks, the Texans, the Panthers. But the Texans and Falcons, in my opinion, are going to be very tough to beat against the Titans. Same with the Panthers as well, because the Panthers are pretty built good as well, because they got a lot of talent, this free agency, and they got a couple of guys in the draft. So I think the Titans are the worst team built this year, man. Sorry to say, but I think that's the case. I feel bad. But don't be sad for the Titans fan, because you have Will Levis. Will Levis is probably going to be the new face of the franchise guy instead of Derrick Henry. So hopefully he could turn out good for the Titans. I mean, because the guy, he has the talent, he has the looks, he has the voice. He has everything he needs to be a face of a franchise guy. He just needs to put it all together and be consistent and make plays, when he gets a chance. And I believe we will see Will Levis. I believe we will see Will Levis in Week 15 is where I believe we will see Will Levis get his first start. And that's against the Houston Texans. And that's it. So that's my AFC record prediction. I know for the Titans fans, you're probably either mad at me or you're realistic. Because that roster, in my opinion, is probably the worst roster in all of football right now. And that Colts team is like mid. I think their records would be around there, 9-8 or 10-7, whatever it is. I think it's gonna be a little a mid record, not a bad record, not a great record. And for the Texans, man, I really believe we're gonna see some flashes from them. They might get a couple upset games, and then hopefully this offseason or this upcoming, and then hopefully after this season they're able to get some veteran players, maybe a veteran star or something like that, and then the next season we'll be talking about can the Texans make playoffs, depending about what they do in the off season. And for Jacksonville, the second year under Doug Peterson, I really believe they could do way better than last season. How far can they make it? Can they take the division? I think they do. This will be very entertaining to watch the Jacksonville Jaguars this season. Can't wait for this season. This will be a fun one. A lot of great teams out there. There's a lot of my God, there's a lot of great teams out there this season. It's going to be very competitive. In the NFL, you literally cannot take any game for granted. You could lose to anyone in this game. So that's why it's pretty hard to do ranking predictions, because that's how competitive the NFL is now. Because back then, it would be like, yeah, this team sucks, boom, 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 win, win, win. But this season, you never know. Any team could lose to anyone, and that's the NFL right now. So I hope y'all enjoy, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.